Welcome back to LFC Transfer Hub, your ultimate home for all things Liverpool. Today we've got huge transfer drama and breaking news. Liverpool have lost their own Guehi in generational talent. Liverpool agree contract ahead of signing 23-year-old star. Edwards in line for new deal as FSG make Slot and Hughes plan clear. Latest news. Slot makes big claim about Elliott after surprise Aston Villa move. Let's dive in, Reds. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Liverpool have lost their own Guehi in generational talent. Jurgen Klopp's decision to leave Liverpool at the end of the 2023-24 season hung heavy over Anfield as the Arne Slot era looked to get up and running, and many thought the former Feyenoord coach would fall quickly by the wayside. But Liverpool won the Premier League, and Slot is now renowned not just for his shrewd triumphs in his Dutch homeland but his success on a grander scale with Liverpool, who have fortified last year's exploits with an utterly merciless spending spree across the summer transfer window, now the overwhelming favourites to retain their crown. Liverpool did have to haul some surplus this summer, selling a whole host of first-team players in a major reshuffle. Up-and-coming stars such as Harvey Elliott and Jarell Quansah were sold despite making headway as top English talents over the past few years. Quansah fell toward the fringes under Slot's wing last season, and was sold to Bayer Leverkusen for £35 million after being told he would continue to play a peripheral role throughout 2025-26. Liverpool signed 18-year-old Giovanni Leone to replace him, but Crystal Palace's Marc Guehi was the one who was viewed right up until the final moments of the transfer window as the perfect player to slot in alongside Virgil van Dijk. Liverpool missed out on Guehi. When Guehi scored a peach against Aston Villa before the September international break, his celebration carried with it the sense that he had written an incredible, fairy tale ending to his chapter at Crystal Palace. A move to Liverpool wasn't just on the cards, but imminent, only it fell through at the 11th hour on deadline day after the Eagles failed to secure an adequate replacement for Oliver Glasner's captain, who has been instrumental across 2025 for the multi-trophy winning side. Guehi, 25, has emerged over the past few years as one of the best defenders in the Premier League, with his combative and composed defensive style merging with a technical game that stretches beyond what is expected of a centre-half. Indeed, he has been described as an absolute gem by his former coach Michael Beale, who singled out his formative years at Chelsea's Cobham as building his technical level. Glasner, for his part, is adamant that certain stories of his desperate, and successful, efforts to keep Guehi at the club were false. In any case, Guehi remains a Palace player and has no intention of penning a new deal that would extend his contract beyond its expiry at the end of the season. A move to Merseyside remains a convincing possibility, with Liverpool snapping him up for free. In this way, Guehi could mimic another deal from the closed summer transfer window, becoming Liverpool's version of a player who actually left Anfield for a European giant just a few months ago. Liverpool's own version of Guehi. While the Anfield side were willing to part with such players, it was a different tale with homegrown hero Trent Alexander-Arnold, who was billed by many as Liverpool's new version of Steven Gerrard after emerging from the academy. But the 26-year-old instead left at the end of his contract and signed for Real Madrid. It was a contentious decision, but one which the 26-year-old made after much consideration, leaving England and the Premier League and joining Los Blancos, Liverpool's biggest European rivals of modern times, for a fresh challenge and a chance to take his career to the next level. Many Reds couldn't understand the decision, with jeers when the right-back entered the fray after confirmation of his decision was made known in May, during a draw with Arsenal, pushing the unsavoury situation toward boiling point. Even so, Alexander-Arnold celebrated Liverpool's Premier League title with his peers and showed an outpouring of emotion after playing his final match in a Liverpool shirt at the end of the season. The Three Lions star was synonymous with his former outfit's resurgence of the past decade, after all. Hailed as a generational talent by content creator Asim Mahmoud, Liverpool must regret losing such an incredible, irreplaceable playmaker, one of the greatest passers of the ball in English history. There are parallels between his situation and Guehi's at Palace, to be sure, and those similarities might become more pronounced in the coming months, when talk of a pre-contract agreement with the Eagles captain gathers steam. Whether Liverpool win that battle remains to be seen, with sources recently suggesting Chelsea are gearing up to make a move of their own for Guehi after the new year. But if Guehi does have his heart set on a move to Liverpool, as has been suggested, Slot might just find himself welcoming his own version of Alexander-Arnold, landing an elite player on a bossman and one who is cherished by the fanbase of a club who cannot bear the thought of his departure. Of course, Trent will return to his old stomping ground sooner than he might have hoped for, with Real Madrid drawn against Liverpool in the league phase of the Champions League. Liverpool Chiefs will be frustrated that they couldn't convince the Scouser to stay put, but Slot's side have already shown they can overcome the setback, just as there is confidence that the failed attempt to sign Guehi from Crystal Palace will not stop the club from achieving their goals. Liverpool agree contract ahead of signing 23-year-old star. Liverpool have already agreed a contract to see a 23-year-old return to the club. A deal is certainly on the table. Liverpool struck a series of fantastic deals this summer, some of which felt unthinkable. In fact, the transfer window kicked off that way as the Reds somehow sold Trent Alexander-Arnold to Real Madrid. He was always joining them, of course, but Liverpool secured a £10 million fee for a player who had 1 month remaining on his contract. Alexander-Arnold didn't even have any more games to play. Jarell Quansah to Bayer Leverkusen. Liverpool brought in £35 million for Jarell Quansah, a player who didn't really feature all that much last season. Bayer Leverkusen were eager to sign him, though. And that's understandable. Quansah was magnificent in his debut campaign under Jurgen Klopp and looked like one of the best young centre-backs around. It was only a crisis of confidence that halted his development last season. There is unquestionably a fantastic talent there. And Liverpool know that because they secured a buyback clause with Leverkusen. Essentially, the Reds can bring Quansah back to Anfield if he ends up fulfilling his potential, paying a premium to the German side for finishing up the development. What's particularly notable there is that, per The Athletic, Liverpool have already agreed a contract with Quansah for his potential return. There is no greater sign that the club still see his future with the Reds. To the point where we've never actually heard of such a deal before. Liverpool seem quite confident that they'd re-sign Quansah at some point, though. He is, after all, a completely homegrown talent and one who does fit the profile Liverpool want. Quansah is composed, quick and competent on the ball. If he proves himself in the Bundesliga, it makes absolute sense to bring him back. And it appears Liverpool are already preparing to do that. Edwards in line for new deal as FSG makes Slot and Hughes' plan clear. Liverpool's record summer spend was no coincidence, with Fenway Sports Group now opening talks to extend the deal of the man pulling the strings behind the scenes. Michael Edwards, our CEO of football, has entered negotiations with the ownership group about a fresh contract, according to TBR Football's Graham Bailey. Liverpool owners trust Edwards after record transfer window. Bailey reports that FSG believe Edwards, sporting director Richard Hughes and head coach Arne Slot are the best backroom trio in world football, and they want them tied down until well beyond their current 2027 agreements. I am told that FSG are very happy with the status quo. They love Edwards, and believe his decisions over Hughes and in turn Slot, have been invaluable to the club's success, Bailey explained. The trust was visible this summer as Liverpool sanctioned a £450 million spend, smashing the British transfer record twice. The arrival of Alexander Isak for £125 million and Florian Wirtz for £116 million headlined a window that also saw Hugo Ekitike, Milos Kerkez and Jeremy Frimpong arrive. Michael Edwards and Liverpool's multi-club project. One of Edwards' key tasks is to lead FSG's multi-club model, with Malaga among the teams linked. While Bordeaux talks collapsed last year, the Reds' football chief is determined to oversee the project while ensuring our Anfield success continues. Edwards famously resisted an approach from Al Hilal earlier this year, underlining his commitment to the Liverpool project. His joint decision to appoint Slot last summer directly led to our 20th league title, and any extension is another sign that we are in safe hands. This development comes as FSG continue their wider football strategy, as other European owners monitor the multi-club trend too. Slot makes big claim about Elliott after surprise Aston Villa move. Liverpool head coach Arne Slot has insisted that Harvey Elliott remains an important figure for the club despite completing a season-long loan to Aston Villa on deadline day. The midfielder, still only 22, was part of the squad that lifted the Premier League title last season and has already collected multiple honours at Anfield since arriving as a teenager. Slot praises Elliott for mentality and quality. Speaking before this weekend's trip to Burnley, the Dutchman explained why the decision was taken. "That's another positive thing, I think," the boss told reporters. "Harvey is in a very good place, going to a very nice club with Aston Villa. I think it's in the interest of everyone when he didn't get the playing time he probably deserved for the quality player he is." Slot stressed that Elliott's contribution to Liverpool's success should not be underestimated. "I know everyone always talks about Mo, Virgil and the others if we win the league. But players like him were definitely also the reason why we could win it, because he always was positive if he had to play 5 or 10 minutes, he helped the team. That mindset, according to the 46-year-old, is why the England under-21 international deserves to flourish during his time at Villa Park." Liverpool continue to benefit from loan moves. Elliott is not the only Red to look to impress elsewhere. Slot pointed to Luis Diaz at Bayern Munich and Tyler Morton at Lyon as examples of how players leaving Anfield can thrive. The midfielder's move follows a busy summer that saw Liverpool land record signings such as Florian Wirtz and Alexander Isak, reshaping the squad for the title defense. The fact that Elliott's temporary exit includes buyback and sell-on clauses shows how highly the club still value him and why they turned down laughable offers from RB Leipzig. As Slot made clear, Elliott's professionalism and talent give him every chance of returning to Liverpool ready to play a bigger role in the future, for a player who clearly loves the Reds.